Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Life with Loverly podcast. Hi, Michelle.
Hey.
How's it going?
Whew, it's good to be back.
You guys, we've got so many stories before we get into the bulk of this episode, which I am very excited about. But wow, where do we even start?
It feels like a lifetime ago right now at this moment. I'm like, how long ago was that? So almost 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
This all started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll start it.
Like, are we ready to have this conversation?
I'm going to start it. They're tiptoeing around me right now. Okay, guys. So the thing that happened was, let's rewind back to the first week of May. Okay. We were invited by Elizabeth, our podcast producer, to go see Taylor Swift in Nashville, of all places, her hometown. Very, very magical. And so Brittany and I, in the middle of chaos, decided that we're just going to go. We're just going to do it. So you got back from Disney on Friday.
Yep.
And then Saturday, you were able to spend some time with your whole fam.
Yep.
And then you and I got on a plane to go to Nashville on Sunday afternoon to go see Taylor Swift. And then the next day, we were going to have to turn around and then go to Florida to meet the team for our team retreat, which we'll get more into. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which we were like, logistically, this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
But it's very doable. We were planning to fly to Florida anyway. So we were like, we'll just fly Atlanta to Nashville, Nashville back to Atlanta because they don't have a direct flight from Nashville to Florida.
Right.
So we were going to do Nashville back to Atlanta, then pick back up go to Panama City, and then drive over to Rosemary.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like,
we put the pieces into place so well. We were like, it's brilliant. It's gonna be exhausting, but so fun.
And exactly. I think what it came down to, because I was very much a little bit on the fence probably a lot of bit on the fence when the opportunity first came up to go. And obviously love Taylor Swift. I've seen her in concert one other time, when she was in Atlanta several years ago. And it was so probably one of the best concerts still that I've ever been to. So when the opportunity came up, it was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's amazing. But then we started being like, okay, but we have this. How are we going to make this work? And that kind of felt like a lot. But then I think at the end of the day, we were like, when are we going to get that opportunity again? You only live once. We've done hard things. Let's just figure it out.
It wasn't it was something we were dreading at all. We were like, this is exciting. Let's do it. Let's go.
And once we, for me, I think once I got in that mindset that it's it's going to be okay. We got this, because there were just so many moving parts, in my personal life also at the same time. And so we were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Then I feel like we turned a corner and we're just pumped up.
Yes. So we get on the flight to go to Nashville, and there was some weather. We knew we were probably going to get stuck in some rain that night.
We were prepared.
Yeah, but we were prepared. I had those ponchos with the clear bags. We were ready to go. And we are in Nashville, and we realize, well, I guess before we get to Nashville, we realize the storm has definitely hit, because turbulence was insane. Turbulence was, I've never experienced that before.
No, not like this. People were getting sick
and screaming. Yes.
I remember I was grabbing onto the seat, just trying to be calm.
Yeah.
The lady in front of me was definitely screaming. We kind of dropped at one point and she was very scared.
Yeah. Somebody passed out in the back close to me.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Somebody got massively sick in the bathroom back there. It was out for the count. There was just so much going on during that flight. I honestly was a little scared, because it's just, I've been in turbulence. No.
Yeah.
And so we realize that we get to Nashville, and the pilot finally comes on. You kind of feel we're kind of turning.
Circling.
We're turning, and we're like, okay. I'm thinking we're just waiting for a spot, because sometimes that happens if you get stuck in storms and stuff. And he finally comes on, and he's like, look, guys, they're not letting anybody into Nashville right now because things are so bad. We're just trying to circle and wait it out. And so this happens for a good 35 minutes or so. And finally he's like, we're going to have to go to Chattanooga and refill because we need gas. So,
which is another thing I didn't think about.
I didn't
they
either.
Only put the amount of gas.
Hour flight. So we were like, what? But yeah, I took that for granted too. And so this huge series of events starts to unfold. And we go to Chattanooga. And at this point, we're like, okay, we're going to get gas. We're going to wait out the storm and we're going to head out. And this is at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. And the show starts at 6:30. She usually doesn't go on until closer to 8.
We were like, no big deal.
We were like not worried.
No.
I mean,
yeah.
And people were like getting off the plane once we landed in Chattanooga because they were like, whatever, we'll just take an Uber.
Yeah.
Which, because it's just like a 2-hour drive from Chattanooga to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
However, we couldn't get off because we checked our bags because we were flying that stuff down to the beach. And like that second leg was also like a really important, like our whole team was meeting us. This was months in the working.
There were things for work in there. I mean, we had work we had to get done when we got down there. And so we couldn't just like
abandon our bags.
Trust me, if it was just a couple outfits, I'd be like, bye.
Right.
We would have been like, bye. But there was so much more to the story that's like than people, I guess, knew.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, why didn't you drive? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, trust me.
Like we thought of all, and not to mention, we're also having to like critically think and problem solve like quickly.
Yes.
Like it was like, okay, I think this is a plan. We had Chris like on the phone. He's looking up if there's even any rental car options. They're saying like, we won't take any bags off, but they will meet you in Nashville whenever the plane actually gets to Nashville. So we were like, do we risk it?
Then but nobody could answer when it was going to Nashville. It was just a cluster of just thing after thing after thing. So just to put a very long story short, we were in the airport until, was it almost 1 a.m.?
Yeah, because remember, I think we left at like 12:35 because he had to be like back in the air by 1 o'clock.
Yes,
before his like
clocked out
hours of flying would have like he wouldn't have been able to take off.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. I mean, I was like a little nervous that he was gonna just be like, sorry,
like waited out.
Yeah, but thankfully he was like, let's just go.
Yeah.
I mean, but even then there was just it was a whole thing. So we are still sort of thinking we could like drop our bags because of the rain delay there and like the storm and like the weather. She didn't go on until 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
So we're landing in Nashville and it's like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know, so based off data from other shows, she still had like an hour left. The airport is very close to downtown. Our hotel, we were literally going to drop our bags and like go try to catch like the last like few songs.
Something. Yeah.
And then we get stuck on the runway for an hour waiting because every flight got grounded or couldn't land in Nashville. So then when it was safe to land, there were no gates available.
Right.
So then it was like they were waiting for things to leave. It just like was one thing on top of the next, on top of the next. And because of all the delays and the grounding, that changed our flights for the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
So we like finally get our bags. It's like 2:30. We get an Uber, we get to our hotel. And then we like see that our flights that are supposed to leave at 8:30 to come back to Atlanta are canceled.
Yep.
So we're like, what are we going to do?
I remember us sitting, like we switched off washing our faces and we're like, we're quiet. We're so quiet the whole time. We're like, I'm like, get back in there. And I'm like, yeah, my flight is definitely canceled. Cause you kept going, no, it's not. It just got changed. No, it's not. It just got changed. And I'm like, no, it got canceled.
I know. And I was looking at the wrong thing. So that was on me.
Well, no, but I was just like, I'm going to wash my face and I'm going to figure this out. And I look down and I'm like, yeah, I got canceled. And so we sit down and we just literally are like, what in the world do we do?
Yeah. Like, cause there weren't other flights getting back to Atlanta that would leave in time for us to then get on our flight to Florida. Cause that was the other problem.
They were just like, all gone. All of these flights, this storm had just put, I mean, so many flights in a delayed / canceled / whatever, pattern that it just, luck of the draw, we get back online and the next thing is like out the next night. I think it was like 8 p.m. or whatever,
which just like wouldn't have worked. And so we were like, I guess our next best
like, do we
option,
sleep? Are we able to sleep? Like, what are we gonna do? And we're in our pajamas. And finally, I think we were like, just text Chris that we need a rental car and that we're going to try to sleep and that he needs to figure it out when he wakes up.
Yeah, he didn't really figure it out. When
No,
he like
we
sent
still
us
had to
back
figure it
and
out.
was like, that's not like the plan isn't gonna work. And so then we're like, yes, it is. Like this
Yeah.
is we figured it out. But even if we would have driven to Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
but we still wouldn't have made it from Nashville to Atlanta to make
No.
our flight.
Because we were like, if we can get in the car on time, if we can get on the road, if we don't get stuck in morning traffic in Atlanta, there were so many obstacles that kept presenting itself. We finally were just like, I literally was just like, Brittany, I'll drive. I'm going to drive the whole way. Just please,
right.
I just want to get
Let's
there. I want to be in
just-
control of something at this point.
Right. So we literally got back up, went back to the airport 3 hours later. Like we slept literally for 2 hours. I think we were just so delirious
We were.
too. But I did feel good about having a plan.
Me too.
Like I felt like we could sleep because we were like, okay, this is how we're going to get out of here.
Mhm.
And so we rented a car and we started driving. Thankfully, Rosemary is literally just like a pencil line straight
That
from
was
Nashville.
a straight drive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so easy.
I will say when I started driving, it felt like we were going like not straight anymore.
Because we were on those back roads.
Yeah.
Like, what
So-
was it, Alabama, I think, at that point?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
was like, we aren't going.
I know. I got the easy leg. Sorry.
It's okay. You drove longer than I did. But we made it down. We turned in our rental car, got our Bronco that we rented, and it was so fabulous.
It was. That
We
was so
used
fun.
The Turo app, which we've used several times and like have
Mhm.
really loved. And this Bronco was like the pick me up that we needed to get us to the house, get set in, go to dinner.
Yeah.
And then we've crashed and it was just like funny at that point. Like I think we were just so this is insane.
Like, how many things could have happened in this situation, like, and go wrong?
right.
I mean, at the end of everybody was like, oh, but you were safe. And I'm like, no, I get that, guys.
right. Like
We get
not,
that. We're not trying to dismiss that. And, no, I wasn't upset with the pilot or anything like that. It's
Right.
just being in the middle of that situation was just like, are you serious?
Right. It just felt
Are you serious? Is this real life right now? Is this really happening to us?
right.
Literally every little thing that happened. I got lucky
know.
because my luck kept continuing throughout the week, but we'll
Mhm.
get into that later.
Yeah. So we ended up having a great retreat.
So
we
fun, guys.
had brought our team, a majority. I feel like there was like a few that weren't there.
I know.
Our beloved Ellen, who's on the other side of the camera, is like anyway, a majority of us were down there and it was so great because we brought Jen Bowie down with us and she did kind of like an intensive all day just like workshop
Mhm.
with our team. And we had some like pre-work that we did and did these like 360 reviews. And it was just a really like great opportunity for our team to like have real raw conversations and give feedback and talk about what they wanted to see and brainstorm but have like a professional who has been like alongside my business for several years be there to kind of like inspire us to think differently
Mhm.
and to just encourage and enlighten and just open up conversation for like a full day. And it was so much fun.
It really was.
It was just great that we were able to like pour into the people who like choose to work
Mhm.
at Loverly Gray. And I said this on my Instagram stories, but like I don't take it for granted that people show up here for me every day. And like while it looks on Instagram like I'm just like one person, I wouldn't be able to do my job without the team behind me. And if they're not set up for success, then like I'm not going to be successful.
Yeah.
So this was just like a really great time to just open up the floor and everybody had, I think, a really great time. And
It was so fun to see everybody interact outside of,
yeah,
the office walls and really get to know each other on a personal level. It's
absolutely.
always so fun.
And like you always leave, or if you've worked in like a corporate environment, you go to like a work conference or you go away and you get like poured into, and then you come back and you're like, feel like you're on fire to like,
Yeah.
let's like, oh, I'm going to bring that back. Like, and it's like, that's kind of where we are. And I think that's really cool. We played a game one night that I feel like was so funny because the game was just like a card game. But it like every time somebody would read the card, all five of us would like go around and
It
like
was
tell a story.
time. Oh, was it Never Have I Ever? Is that what it was?
Yes,
Girls'
yes.
Night Edition or whatever? Yeah.
So it was so fun. But then each card like prompted,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this one time?
Yes.
Okay, like, and then that would spawn somebody to tell a story.
It's
and
because
then
who we are, we're like, these rules stink. We're not doing that. So yeah, it was really fun.
But looking back, like I remember like, it's just, I liked getting to know people on more of like a personal level and like hearing stories. And then other things would happen later in the weekend would be like, wait, that happened. And, it just, I don't know. I think it's just a great way to connect and bond. And it felt like at the end of the trip, like we all left being like, I feel like I know this person better. I know like who they are better.
Yeah. I absolutely love they got to experience some of the great things about Rosemary too, favorite restaurants and
we went to
places.
Citizen. Alice Beach is like one of our absolute favorite restaurants. If you're there, definitely go. Their oysters are amazing. Whipped feta, like everything. I think Kat, like we ordered a bunch of oysters for our appetizer and we all like split them, and then she was like, I'm gonna get another dozen for my meal. I was like, yes, you do.
That's how you do it.
It's so good. And of course, like the good coffee shops. We did a picnic on the beach with everybody. Fresco Picnic Company.
There you go.
And they are amazing. We've had picnics with them several times in the past. And
she's so fun to work with. Tia is very creative.
So,
all of her tables, there's so many to choose from. She does it based off of like your theme. So she usually keeps, your brand in mind whenever we come, like it's the colors and she does such a good job.
Yeah. She sets up like charcuterie and desserts like throughout the decoration on the board. You can bring food and like wine and different things, but that's a really cool thing. I think like for girls' night or like family vacation, bachelorette party would be so fun. And it was just great. So we had such a good time. And then the girls left and drove back with a bunch of the stuff that we brought down there. Nichelle and I were wrapping up, like finishing shooting a few reels and some like sponsored content and projects that we had. And then she's like, I'm not really feeling that good.
The whole morning was like, I am so nauseous, but I was like, 'tis the season, drainage, all that other stuff. I was like, I'm just going to be a champ, eat a banana and call it a day. We're going to be fine. And I was starting to sweat just sitting there. And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, I'm not okay. I'm sick.
I know. I was like, okay, well, let's just stop. We don't need to do any more photos. We
literally, mind you, all I could think was, oh my gosh, we're not going to get this content before we go back. Because of course I'm like, we got to get this content. We got to do this. We got to do that. You know what I mean? And here I am. My insides are just like, you're not well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So we ended up going to get lunch at Funville and I just got a turkey sandwich, something really easy and what I felt was light. And I was like, I just need like something on my stomach to make me feel a little bit better. 3 bites into it, I was like, I was like, we got to go.
Okay. And like right at this time, she's like, I'm not like feeling well. We need to go. We're like kind of packing up and this couple walks by and is like, oh my gosh, slept really great.
And of course I'm like about to stand up and I'm like,
and she's like not well. And the lady's like, oh my gosh, we're talking. And then she's like, I got to get a picture. So she's trying to like get her phone and get it all figured out. And it's like taking a moment. And she's like, let's just take a selfie. And then so we like take a selfie and she looks over. She was like, you too, get on in here. Like talking to Nichelle. And I was like, I don't know if she's going to be able to. I mean, you rallied like.
I blacked out though, walking to the car all the way back to your house. Completely blacked out.
Well, I'm glad that you wouldn't let me drive, even though I
I
was
know.
like, I will drive us. You're not well. She's like, oh, it's fine. I'm fine. You're like in the scene in Bridesmaids when she's like, do you want an almond? And you're like, she's like, no, I'm fine. Like, and she's like, I don't think you're fine. She's like, this is so good. Literally, that was you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And lo and behold, we get back and I literally, it everywhere.
Yeah, it was
everywhere.
Sorry to the
totally missed the toilet.
Yeah, you're like, I need some. I'm like, what?
I was like, I need paper towels.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, and then I just felt so bad for you. Like, in
I
the
had to
airport,
travel that way, guys.
Yeah, we like went right to the airport to get on our flight. And I
know, and don't
like,
at me. Yes, I was going to travel because I was going home because I did not feel okay.
Yeah, like, well, and it wasn't.
My mom was like, I can't believe that you got on the airplane. And I was like, Mom, I was not going to not get on the airplane.
Yeah.
I was like, I kept my head between my knees during the flight. I wasn't breathing on anybody. Thank goodness I fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost passed out in that security line. Can you imagine if we were in Atlanta?
No.
We were only 10 people deep. And I was like, I literally had to take a knee because I almost passed out. I was like, I'm going to pass out before we get on this flight. Yeah.
So to say, and then she was proceeded to be sick for like 5 days after we get home. So to say like that week was like, there were so many things that happened.
Elizabeth, let's just go ahead and put an E on this one. It was a shit week.
Yeah.
It was a shit week.
Like, I would not wish that experience on anybody. Just the like craziness.
I lost 13 pounds.
Yeah. When you text me that, I was like, what?
Yeah, seriously. Not the way I wanted to go about that. But hey, it's a jump start.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, we are back. We've got some exciting things coming up. I feel like even though there was so much trauma on the like front and back end of our team retreat, the actual retreat itself was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I hope we just
look back and we're like, that was the core, like, haha, that's crazy. Yeah. The front and the back.
It was like the ice cream sandwich, like the outside's really thin, the inside's really good and fluffy. And we had a really good time, like we had a really good time. So needless to say, the sickness is gone.
Praise.
And back in action. I had to come back for like a half day yesterday just to feel some kind of normalcy. Woo! But we're back. We're feeling good. We're back to work. We're revitalized.
I'm just so glad that you are. Like, I was
alive.
So worried. Texting Robert being like, okay, what's happening? Is she like, I mean, I think like Robert met us at the airport and like took Nichelle home and then I drove home and I just like was like, good luck. Like, I just felt so bad leaving you. And I remember I was like going in for a hug. She was like, don't hug me. I mean, I probably would have been sick too. Thanks for pushing me away.
I know. I was like, I want to hug you so bad because we had such a great week, but don't touch me right now because literally, and aren't you glad?
Yeah.
I mean,
but then it's crazy. We kind of, I mean, not joked, but we were the next day at work, we were all like, how did none of us get sick?
I know.
Because we were all like in the same house. We shared food the night before.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so
nobody
wild.
in my house got sick either. Like Bryn had, so all of that to say I had this whatever awful stomach bug that then I got strep right after that.
Yeah. Goes to the doctor Monday. They're like,
I was like, I just feel like this is just not like the throwing up aspect of it, but like, is my throat hurting? Is it just because people are saying that it is or it's supposed to? And I ended up with strep. So, and then the doctor recognized me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were in urgent care.
Yes, I went into urgent care and I'm like sitting there with my hand between my legs and I'm like shaking and I'm sweating and I haven't had makeup on in forever. The sunless tanner on me has just like, I don't even know. I can't even tell you. It was like in cracks. It was disgusting. And my hair's up. I'd never go in public like that. I never go in public like that. And she's like, Nichelle, like as in Loverly Gray Nichelle. And I was like,
So you never know when people are going to recognize you.
I never wanted to be seen in public like that. But anyway, so feeling better. Glad to be back at work. Glad to be back with my work fam.
Oh my
back
gosh.
to business.
We just all keep being like, this is not real life. But We're moving on.
Mercury is no longer in retrograde from what
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
Yes, we back. I mean, and I feel like we have the month of May, we're halfway through, which feels so crazy because I feel like it just started.
I mean, I spent May in my bed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Literally. But we've got some like great stuff coming up for the remainder of May.
So excited
Some
about it.
really good episodes coming. I've got a big secret that I'm going to tell you guys. And like maybe like between like 1 and 3 episodes from now, you will know a big secret that I am going to tell my Life with Loverly family first.
Just keeping you hanging by a thread, guys.
Well, thanks for coming and listening to our crazy traumatic story.
Therapy session.
Yeah, this absolutely.
Thank you guys.
We love you guys, and we will talk to you next time.